Welcome back to the Fourth and Goal Vodcast. Today we have Coach Coltharp on with us from the 92 Mesh Group. Coach Coltharp will be talking about knowing and coaching the why and what the why means to the air raid offense. Be sure to stick around to the end where Coach gives us a special surprise for all our viewers. So without further ado, let's get Coach on. We'll get it. So welcome, Coach. Thanks for joining us.
I appreciate you having me, man. It's always cool to talk to somebody around the world.
Yeah, it's great fun. It's amazing what technology can do and bring the football world closer together.
Yeah, and we're talking about American football. Obviously, I'm a big what we call soccer fan too. So it's pretty cool. You know, I'm a big Manchester United supporter. So I watch English football quite a bit and American football as well. So it depends on who I'm talking to when I say certain things. Make sure. And the funniest thing is like when you try to Google stuff and you type football, a lot of times you're going to see what we would call soccer balls pop up. So you have to, even when you're doing YouTube and things like that, your tags have to say American football. And, but us Americans, we think everything revolves around us anyway. So we don't we just say football and you're supposed to know that. But, it's interesting just to get that international perspective. And it's really cool to see that our game is growing around the world because it is a great game.
It is. It's one of those things. Down here we have 5 or 6 different sports that any one person could call football, and so trying to distinguish those and give them different names is quite difficult.
Yeah, that's interesting as well. I'm not I'm not as well versed in what goes on in Australia. I know you guys have rugby and soccer. And I'm sure cricket and some stuff like that. And I do know this. Here's a cool air raid fact for you. I had dinner and drinks with Mike Leach one night. One of the biggest air raid guys in the country, if not the biggest right now. And we were sitting down in San Antonio, Texas, and he didn't want to talk about football. All he wanted to talk about was a documentary that he did for the Travel Channel. And he got to meet the coach of the All Blacks. And he thought that was the big. He thought he got to hang out with the coach and the staff of the All Blacks for like a day or two, and that's all he talked about because he knew that I had a friend who knew something about rugby, and so he got all in on this rugby stuff, and he starts talking about the All Blacks, man, and he's just like, man, these guys are they're top of the line, and they do this and this and this. I mean, he was all in on it, man. So it was just interesting, how some of those guys are kind of. They go a whole bunch of different ways in thinking and things like that because coaching is coaching. It doesn't matter what it is, whether it's soccer, football, rugby, you can learn something from any coach. And that's one of the things that I try to tell my guys that work for me. And as I learn, I try to learn from anywhere. I worked at a school one time. We had a legendary girls basketball coach, and I just sat there and soaked it up and talked to her. And listen, successful coaches all do the same things. They practice fundamentals. They pay attention to details. They have discipline, and they build relationships with their players. And so those things are universal no matter what the sport is.
Yeah, that's it. It's funny you mentioned that. Any other coach gets a chance to speak to Mike Leach, and I'm sure they're gloating and praising his genius and the things he does. So it's funny to see him do the same thing for someone else.
Yeah, no, I mean, he was just, this was kind of more of an informal setting. It wasn't a clinic session or anything. We were just kind of all hanging out, because I had some mutual friends who knew him, and we were just all having dinner and drinks and stuff. And it was just, casual conversations because you got to realize, coaching is these guys' job. It's not everything that they do. And so they're real people. And when you get to meet them, you're like, that guy was really cool. I mean, he's a regular guy. I mean, don't ever call Leach a regular guy. He's brilliant, and it's just talking to him it's an interesting endeavor to say the least.
I bet you see some of those documentaries and you just see some of the comments and things you make, and you're just like, yeah, he's far from regular, and I'm sure he likes it that way. So
yeah, I mean, hey, well, he's true to himself, and there's something to be said about that, and I think that also goes to coaching. I think you have to find out who you are as a coach, And then, that's one of the reasons why I fell in love with the air raid, is because it kind of fit my mentality of attacking and simplicity and different types of things. And you can go to all the clinics in the world and listen to all the people in the world talk, but you have to figure out who you are. And then one of the things that I talk about in the course that I teach, the foundations of the air raid offense, is one of the sections is making it your own, which is, you kind of have to figure out how all of this works, but then where does it fit you? I mean, because even within air raid guys, there are different types of air raid guys. There are guys who love shallows. There's guys who love the deep ball. There's guys who love screens and quick game. There's guys who live and die by mesh. I kind of attune it to math teachers. I don't want to ruin the day talking about math, but when you talk about the maths, generally when you talk to people who teach math, they're either algebra people or they're geometry people. They kind of, I like the geometry or I like the algebra. Very rarely do you see somebody like, I love it all. So it's the same way with the air raid. There's guys even within this subset who like different parts of it, whether it be the 20 personnel power run stuff or RPOs or kind of like me, I'm more of a traditionalist. I just kind of do the basics and keep it moving.
No, I definitely see where you're coming from. With someone who has a PhD in maths, it's you're not wrong with that analogy. There's definitely different brands and strands, and you're either one or the other, and you don't like it all.
Yeah, no, you don't. It is what it is, and I think there's something to be said for you can be good at both of them, but I think there's nothing wrong with identifying who you are and being that person. And so that would be kind of my piece of advice to any young coach is go out there and learn everything you can learn. I've learned so many different offenses and so many different defenses over the years. And obviously growing up in America, I have the benefit of just being exposed to everything. But now with TVs and YouTube and things like that, you can go learn everything from the wing T to the power run game to spread offense to air raid, whatever it is. But expose yourself to all of those things and then figure out which one fits your personality. And then that's where you develop. And obviously I fell into the air raid portion of it, and it changed my life as a coach. I went from being a very, very average coach to a little bit better than average coach. Still ain't a great one, but I'm still a little bit better than I was.
I bet. So you've opened that up now. Let's talk a little bit about your philosophy as a coach, and and a little bit about your background as well and how you got here.
I think I played college football at 1 year at East Carolina University. Then I transferred and finished up at Appalachian State University. So I was a Division I athlete, and I was an offensive lineman by trade, which is funny. When I tell people I was an offensive lineman, they're like, yeah, but you teach the passing game. But, hey, look, man, offensive linemen can know the passing game. So actually I think I'm at an advantage because I know the offensive line play better than most guys who like to throw the football. Started coaching right out of college. My high school head coach gave me a job, and I worked for him for 3 years. And then when I was 26, I got my first head coaching job, and it was back at my old high school, which was pretty neat. So I did. Let's see, I've been a head coach. This is my fourth high school I've been a head coach at now. Just started back. I'm new head coach at Fairmont High School in North Carolina. And I coached 1 year of college ball, and I was an assistant for a couple of years, 1 year on defense and 1 year on offense. So, and I took a little bit of time off and became an assistant principal for a couple of years in between all of that. But so this is my 22nd year going into 22 years working with high school kids, and really excited about it. And I've had a chance to coach some really good guys and be around some really good guys who played in the NFL, a bunch of guys who played in college, a bunch of guys who are just really good men now. And so, my philosophy has always been about developing young people. I use football as a vehicle to keep kids, kind of on the right direction, the right track. And like our motto at Fairmont is Team 25. And we talk about that quite a bit. And people say, well, what does that mean? It's, well, I want the team to think about what life's going to be like when they're 25. Mm-hmm. So whatever decisions you make, is it going to set you up to be successful when you're 25 years old? Are you going to be able to go to college? Are you going to be graduated from college? Are you going to be at the beginning of a really good career? Not a job, but a career. You know, are you going to be getting ready to start a family, or whatever that situation is? Start thinking now when you're in the 9th and 10th grade in high school, you know, 14, 15 years old, start thinking about where you're going to be when you're 25 years old. And so we constantly remind them about those kind of things. And so our philosophy is to use football to kind of to guide that, especially with the kids that we deal with. A lot of our kids are kind of living in rural, impoverished areas, and you know, they don't really have a lot where they, you know, they appreciate everything they have, but you know, it's one of those things, you don't know you're poor unless you're not poor. And but they're good, hardworking kids, and I love them to death, and I'm really excited to hopefully get back out there and get to working with them as soon as possible. But you know, as far as offense and defensive philosophy is concerned, you know, we're going to keep the offense and defense as simple as possible. We want to be able to play fast. We keep our playbooks very small, and that's kind of a misstatement. The playbook's not necessarily small. We have a limited number of concepts, and what that means is, like, I might have mesh, but I can run 7 tags off of mesh. You see, so that's one play, but it's really 8.
Yep.
You know, and so if you drew each one of those plays up and put it in the playbook, next thing you know, you got 50, 60, 70 plays in there when you really don't. You just have one concept, and you're changing the thing. And one of the things we talk about on the YouTube channel all the time is that if a tag changes the progression, it's not a tag, it's a new concept. And so we try to keep our tags to where it doesn't change the thinking process of the quarterback, and allows him to still do the things that we ask him to do as far as reading grass and stuff like that.
No, that's fair. It's definitely, you know, as someone who watches those videos, it's always interesting to hear you talk about that you know, philosophy about if it changes the progression, it's a completely different play. So it's one that
we have such a limited amount of time that we can practice with our kids. I mean, a lot of people don't understand our kids are still, you know, they're still student athletes. They're in school all day long, and it's just like, you know, you get them in the afternoon from, you know, 3:30 to, you know, 5:30, 6 o'clock. And because, you know, any time you practice more than about 2 hours, 2.5 hours, you're not getting anything done after that. You're going to lose kids. So, you know, we try to have up-tempo, very organized practices. So we have to keep what we're asking them to do very, very short. So one of the biggest things that I talk about on the YouTube channel and the courses and everything else is what's the cost-benefit analysis of everything. You know, is the time that we're putting in on this concept or this scheme worth it? You know, I'm not going to practice 7, 8, 9 minutes a day, a whole week on one play to call it one time.
Yeah.
I feel like the one thing that air raid has taught me is the importance of reps and really protecting those reps, you know, not running plays just to run them. So, you know, we're always going to have a focused, oriented practice, you know, one running play for the day, you know, 1 or 2 pass concepts for the day, 1 screen for the day. And that's what we do that entire day. So it limits the amount of teaching that you have to change up, because that way, you know, my offensive line coach, when we're doing inside zone, that's what he's teaching. He's looking for zone technique, hat placement, steps, boom, 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 play after play after play after play. Because it does you no good to be like, hey, man, you took the wrong step on zone. You got to do this, you got to do this. All right, coach. And then the next play is power.
Yep.
You know, on the script. And look, you know, I don't claim to have it all the answers. These are the answers that has worked for me. Some guys do it differently, and more power to them as far as that's concerned. But me, we're going to have a focused practice so we can, you know, correct, and then we're just going to do what we do, and it's worked out for us so far.
Do you find that that style sort of creates a form of monotony, and your players get a little bored with that, knowing that we've got zone? You know,
day. It's one of the funniest things that Coach Mummy always says is, you know, he talks about Glenn Fry from the Eagles and how they've been playing the same tunes for like 40 or 50 years, and how they still sound wonderful, and how do they do that? And he said that Glenn has an old quote, and it's one of his favorite quotes. He says, you have to have a great capacity for boredom. But how do you fight that? You fight that with playing music at practice, up tempo, doing different things. And while it seems like we're doing the same thing over and over and over, I mean, we have a 10-minute running period. So if we're running our dart play, that's 4 plays to the right, 4 plays to the left with the quarterback, 4 plays to the right, 4 plays to the left with the running back. Bang, done. It's not. It seems like it's the same play, but it's not. And it's going so fast and doing the things that we're doing, and we're rolling guys in and out. I think our guys really appreciate it because we only practice about an hour and 5 minutes on offense. It's a 12-period practice. And then the varsity guys go down to the junior varsity end. The junior varsity guys come down to the varsity end, and they do the exact same practice. Right. And so, your guys get into this routine. And those of us who are school teachers know the importance of routine. When kids have structure in class, if they know to come in, grab their book, sit down, look up at the board, start their little starter while you're taking attendance, then you're going to do something. If they get into the same routine every day, then very rarely do you have problems in the classroom or problems on the practice field. So this is kind of how we do it.
Brilliant. And do the players sort of pick up the system a little quicker, knowing that it's such a focused?
I think so. I mean, we talk about this in the videos and on the YouTube channel that, you can put the offense in 3 days. It's not very hard. We've gotten really good at teaching it and doing different things. Because you're doing the same thing over and over and over. I mean, I use the Bruce Lee quote all the time. He would rather fight a guy who knows 10,000 kicks he practiced once than fight a guy who knows one kick he's practiced 10,000 times. We're trying to find that magic rep, where we finally get to that point where, Tiger Woods can pick up a golf club and he can sling it. He can swing it, and that thing hits the slot every time. His muscle memory is such that he don't have to he doesn't really have to think about where his elbow is and his wrist is. All that stuff, it takes care of itself. He's really thinking about how he's going to shape the ball, and so it's like that. We want to get to that point where when we call shallow, we know guys are going to be in the right place.
And so then you were mentioning about how you have your varsity guys and then they go away and you have the JV guys come in. Mm-hmm. Do you guys 2 platoon or are you 1 platoon?
If we were 2 platooned fully, we would have a little bit longer practice. Our school only has about 900 students in it. For our area, that's a mid-level small school. Most large, I think like the largest school in our state has like 3,000 students. Right. So we have around 900. So we're what we call like a 2A. So we don't 2 platoon fully. Like my defensive starters are probably my number 1 backups on offense, right, if that makes sense. So we try to do varsity and JV. Every varsity player has a offense and defensive position. Even the quarterback usually is like an emergency safety because he's probably one of the better athletes on the team. So if we get out there and like prevent or something like that, he's probably the guy out there playing center field because he's probably the smartest. He's definitely the most football smart guy out there. He has to be. So yeah, that's kind of how that works. But no, we're not big enough to 2 platoon. Now I've done it in the past like that. When I was at the college level, then we had the old 24-period practices and did all that good stuff. And really, you're still doing the same stuff. You're just doing it a little bit longer.
So then, do you feel that this offense can lend itself to people abroad where we're not in a school system where we get to practice every day of the week? We've got 2 practice sessions. At best, they're 2 hours long, and attendance is horrible.
I actually, one of my old assistants at another school I worked at owns a semi-pro team here in town. Very much what you're talking about. These are guys who ex-college guys, ex-Army, guys who were in the Army who still want to play, those kind of things. Mm-hmm. These are grown guys. I mean, like you said, two days a week, and they play on Saturdays. And they run our offense, and the Fayetteville Commandos. And they're in a league, and they run our offense, and they do a good job of it. And I think it's really good because the offense is so simple that in the off season they put it in because they have a spring season and a summer season. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, And then once they get jumping back in, it's like, okay, everybody's back, and it's it's pretty easy. I think it would be much easier to run this offense in a semi-pro league and stuff like that. I know that Allen and those guys have been doing it for 9-10 years now, and they sling the football around pretty well.
Coaches, be sure to go follow Coach Coltharp at Twitter at Coach Coltharp. On his Twitter site, you'll see him posting links to his CoachTube, to his YouTube, to his website. Okay, so if we go to his CoachTube now, it's the 92 Mesh Group, the Air Raid Specialists, various bundles available, both offensive and defensive, ranging from advanced through back to beginner. One in particular using the Y in the Air Raid offense, very relevant to the current Vodcast. All right, on their website here, 92meshgroup.com, you'll be able to join up to their online community where you'll be able to get one-on-one advice and help in installing the Air Raid offense. Also, here is their YouTube channel where they post their free quick videos. All right, what is an Air Raid team, the 3 best motions, various different videos talking about the Air Raid offense from the 92 Mesh Group. All the links to these websites will be in the description down below. Please go check them out and support Coach Coltharp. We'll hand it over to you, and we'll let you chat a bit more about the offense and get into some finer details for the viewers.
All right. Well, I thought what we would do today is kind of talk a little bit about one of my favorite parts of the Air Raid, which is the Y. All right. So the Y is our inside right receiver, and there are several plays that are integral for him, that feature him. One of them is my favorite play, which is Y stick, which is part of our quick game. You might have heard it if you learn the traditional terms. A lot of people call it 6-1-8. But for me and my version of the Air Raid, Y is my tight end type guy. So, you're talking about a kid that's probably anywhere between 6'1" and 6'4", 210 to 230, 240 if you're, dealing with college guys. More of a bigger body. In America, we call those guys like small forwards in basketball. There's a lot of kids who are like 6'2", 6'3", who think they're going to college to play basketball, even though they're several inches too short. They do wonderful with this position right here. We always put him on the right-hand side. We don't move him around, and that's one of the bases of the Air Raid. And that's one of the things that makes it so simple is that guys, once they learn where to line up, which is really easy, they pretty much stay where they are because you're playing with tempo and you don't move too many people. But there are four major plays: stick, corner, cross, and sail. The Y is the most important person on mesh because he's the one that sets the depth. He's going to set that at 6, and the guy, whoever's messaging with him from the other side, is going to have to look in and try to find him. Alignment wise, we want him to be about 4 yards from the tackle. He doesn't get too far out into the slot. Now, some people will take Y and put him in a slot when he's not this tight end guy, but for us, he is the tight end type, so he's going to be on the ball. Y always has his inside foot back, and it's really interesting when I start talking about this because people are like, well, why is that, coach? Well, it's the little bitty details of if my outside foot is back and I try to run a shallow cross, I have to step up and across my body. And that's going to carry me up the field a little deeper than if I have my inside foot back where I can step flat at the foot of the defensive lineman and really create that little bit of separation. And you'd be surprised how that foot and a half of separation between the tight end or the Y guy and the linebackers makes such a big difference. So we always have their inside foot back. They're in a 2-point stance. A lot of people ask me this question, coach, can your Y be attached? Can he play tight end? Yes, he can. I don't like putting him in the box because I feel like the more people I put in the box, the more people the defense puts in the box. And what I'm trying to do is create 3 separate games: a game on the right side of the offense, a game on the left side of the offense, and a game in the middle of the offense. And wherever the numbers are the best is where I want to play the game. So if I've got 3 receivers on one side and they only have 2 covers, two down low covers and one guy deep, then I'm in good shape because now I'm 3-on-2. If I've got two on one side, two on the other, and they've got, two guys underneath and then two safeties over top, that means now I have 5 men in the box, so let me run the ball. And so, you try to create better numbers. It's not really that hard. So you really think about it. So our best play is stick. It's kind of like a security blanket for me. One of the things that I talk to my quarterbacks about, and I have to convince myself of this, if you ever see one of my play cards, it always says throw the ball short. Make good calls, like throw screens early, throw wide stick early. Get your quarterback some confidence. He's going to run that stick at 4 yards, and you want him to run that stick at 4 because you don't want him on the same level of the mic. The mic generally stands at 5, and he's going to take a 45-degree drop. So if you run to 5, then you're going to be sitting right there on top of him. But if you run to 4 and hitch up, that's going to give you that foot and a half where you might be able to tight turn and get away from him. So, just a little bitty details like that some people don't understand makes it really cool. What we tell them is take the best release. We want them to make that guy wrong. I tend to tell my guy to go to his outside number of the flat defender. However, it's Napier and some of those guys, other guys you see on YouTube will tell him they're running his inside number. But really what I want to do in stick is I want to get the ball to the tailback. A lot of people don't understand. For me, it's going to be the peak, the swing, and then the stick. Some people will go peak, stick, swing. There's no right, wrong, and different. Coach Mummy does it one way. Coach Leach does it another way. This is the way I do it. And then the most important thing is throw that tight turn and then throw that ball at the outside ear of the receiver. And even the little things like that make it really important because it tells that quarterback, I'm going to throw that guy open and give him an opportunity to flip and get up there. The companion play to stick is corner. A lot of people call it 8. It's basically the corner breaks at that 4 yard and runs to the back pylon on inside the 20. It's a great scoring play. It's the same read. The quarterback's going to throw wide of grass, though, and we'll show you that here in a couple of minutes when we get to some film. It's not necessarily, hey, I'm going to throw it right to that pylon every time. If there's nobody, over to the side, he may throw that ball. So what you do is you teach wide to turn his head and then find the football and let it carry him to it. Kind of the last best play is what I call the best play action route in air raid, which is 95. And the basic rule for why on that is to go under Sam, over Mike, and then go to 22 yards. One of the things that we tell them is that once he stacks Mike, he's open. So if he stacks the Mike linebacker, we tell the quarterback, throw it in the hole right now. If the safeties just split the earth, the Y has an opportunity to sit down in grass. And that's the really important thing about the air raid is it's like basketball on grass. Go get grass. Really, really important. And one of the things that we've done is we've also adopted this when we throw our 3x1 vert game is that we just tell them, hey, look, don't worry about how you get to the other hash in 3x1 because a lot of times, people will take a flat release and then climb to the hash. We just say run wide cross.
Yep.
And they're like, okay, and they know how to do that. They're trained to do that. So we tell the inside guy in 3x1, 6 calls, run wide cross. He's like, all right, coach, I got you. And this is kind of where having that bigger Y is valuable because he's a big target, especially if you play action and draw those linebackers up against the running back. So those are kind of like the 3 kind of best plays for that. Let me jump over here into our Just Play software that we use. If you guys go to our website over at 92meshgroup.com, you can get a free upgrade for Just Play. This is really great. Over in the community section, I'll talk to you about it. But here's kind of the diagram of stick. And you can see right here, that's the peak, that's the swing, and then that's the stick route. And then what we do on the backside is what we call Joker. But we tell H to come in here, do not cross the center's face because if that mic starts getting nosy, the quarterback can know right now to throw it right in there. But let me get you over here into a little bit of film, and you can see what I'm talking about. This is actually us at the high school level, and you can see the quarterback. He just finds that the big slow tight end type guy. He's just going to take 3 steps, bang, and that kid is actually an engineer now.
Right.
He went to North Carolina State University on a full academic scholarship. He was 6'2". he probably ran a 5 flat 40. Yeah, but he ran really good routes, really smart, knew how to get open, had good hands. I mean, but you just look at this little short catch, tight turn, breaks a tackle, and this is in the second round of the playoffs for us. So this is kind of a big game. Here's some college stuff. You can see Leach and those guys. They're just going to throw it in there, get it in the hole. It's a real quick play, and some of these are catches and some of them are not. But just kind of see the idea, and you see run it out of two backs. But you see how right here, for instance, how he throws it to the outside ear of this receiver.
Yep.
And what that does when he throws it to the outside ear of that receiver, when he turns, he's able to turn away from the defense and run now. If he throws it inside, he tries to turn, he's gonna get lights out.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a really big play for us. And you think about it, there's really not a lot into it. This is us again at the high school level. You can see, bang, he just goes in there and sits down and gets that first down. So it's really good. This is me at the college level. And you can see, bang, he just goes in there. And you see how it's such a security blanket type play. This is out of 3x1. We're going to throw the deep ball right there. But first down, you really need to get to where you want to go. You can see right there, they're throwing it to the back. It's such a high percentage conversion pass that it's just like, hey, boom, boom, boom. And then the reason why it's so important is if you go back to this, and let me get back to the big screen and I'll show you what I'm talking about. If you're looking at stick, if he keeps doing like this, right, this guy comes in, now this safety, because he's got to, if he doesn't cover the tailback, you're going to throw it to the tailback, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, so if he's running to the tailback and now this guy swings down onto the stick route, right? That's when you tag the post
right
over top. So see, that's where your tag game comes in. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where that's another play, but it's not really a play. It's just a tag on the concept because you've thrown this stick, and you see right here, this guy is way, way deep. But and here's the other thing. You see how this Mike is running over here to this stick route now?
Yep.
So your other coach is saying, hey, coach, Mike is running the stick. Mike is running the stick. Well, look right in here now.
Yep.
To your inside back slant. So that these are some of the ways that you look at that stick route and you say to yourself, okay, what are they giving me, and let me take advantage of it. And so as we come back over here into the corner route, and basically corner is the same thing. It's the same read. Remember, peak, back, stick. Well, now it's corner, back, slant, right? So you come over here into the video and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Same thing. We're down here closer to the goal line. We've been playing with the safety. They're going to give us man coverage. Bang. Just throw the little underneath snag route right there. Then we get further back down here, and I think, this is the next one. Now you see how they're staying inside because we hit them on that slant. Now watch the corner.
Oh,
bang! And it's such an easy read for the quarterback. He's just looking for grass. Is the grass open? Is the grass closed? Last time the grass was closed, so he just went to the slant. Here you go again. Here's some college level stuff. It's the same thing. Now here's a tag. They saw that this safety was way off the hash.
Yeah.
You see how the safety's way off the hash right there. So what they do is they now tag Y on a glance or a skinny post instead of a corner route, and then watch what happens. Is that a new play? No.
No, it's his first read.
It's just a tag to the concept. See, it's the same read. He's just saying, okay, they did this. I'm just going to give you a quick little sign. Now do that. And that's what's so great about this offense is that you have the ability to do those things in there, and you don't have to be married to a play that's not so great. Here's some Clemson stuff. They're gonna motion to 5 wides. And you can see right here, you got a situation where they don't like it. They don't like it. He sits. He says, oh, well, I'm covered. Let me keep running. Boom. He stays on his third route, throws it in there for a touchdown. So, like I said, it's very simple. There's not a lot of extra teaching to it that makes it such a tough play to learn. Here's the cross, like you said, the understand over Mike. We could have a 2-hour conversation about what should happen over here. There's a great video on our YouTube channel about that with me and Shane Dular and Drew Piscopo talking about how a lot of people use 95 to steal plays. Like a lot of people don't run sail, so they'll put sail in 95. A lot of people use it to run slot fade over there instead of the peak. But you can see the Y right here. He's going to try to get under Sam over Mike. Try to climb through, and he just goes through his progression and comes to the backside on that. And that's the other thing. No matter what the play is called in the offense, they're going to go through the progression. It's a progression-based offense. There's nothing pre-snap that says come off of this play and go over here in drop back game, okay? It's just not in traditional air raid stuff. Now, a lot of people, like I said, they make it their own. They do some different things, but here you can see the Y cross. That's the backside dig that comes behind it. There's a lot of people like here's us running it at the high school at the college level. Boom, see how he goes and sits down. This is when I was at Lane. He goes in, he sits down, bang, catches it. Big body target. Johnny was about 6'3", about 220. Big tight end looking kid. Here's under Sam over Mike again. Boom, right there in the middle of the field. So, it's a possession play action play, very good play. But these are all ways that you feature this kid. And for us, it's really important here in America, especially in like North Carolina, home of Michael Jordan. We have to convince basketball kids to come play football. Everybody thinks they're going to the NBA, and you might have a kid who's a little bit undersized. And so you come out here and you say, hey, look, man, look at this right here. This is you. I'm not asking you to get in here and down block on people and do crazy things. Look at the things that you get to do and be an athlete and be much better than everybody else. And it's just one of the ways that we sell our game to kids who may not want to play because of some other things. I think I got a couple more clips on here. So here you see him again under Sam over Mike into the hole, bang. Good throw and catch. That's pretty much the why. And every team has kind of its own identity. I really like to feature Y a lot in mine. We also run shallow cross with Y and do some different things. But if your guys have any questions, tell them to feel free. You guys please email me. I love to talk. I was talking with Josh earlier. I've got guys in Brazil, France, Austria. There's a couple of guys from Australia who come in. And do some things, Germany, England. So, it's pretty cool. Just shoot me an email or hit me up on Twitter, at Coach Coltharp on Twitter. I'll try to get you. If you want to go over to 92meshgroup.com, /92 community, that's where you can get the discount on Just Play. Team Extreme video service will give you 400 or 100 free RPO college clips and 2-week free trial and some other stuff. They're pretty cool. Really, really inexpensive. So, if you got a pro league or something over there and you want to do that, those guys are really cool. Like I said, Just Play will give you a free pro player upgrade. And if you guys want to look at my course, and I'll take you over there and let you look at it for a second, but if you use the code down under 92, I'll give you 75% off the course. So, it's normally $109 US. So it drops it down to about $35 US. I don't know exactly what that is in Australian money, but if you look at it, it's 3.5 hours long. So I'm going to walk you through offensive philosophy, 3-day install, give you a practice schedule, formations, personnels, all the screens, run game, quick game, drop back game, strategies, how to attack coverages, how to count your box, single high safety, two high safety, how to signal the offense, how to make the offense your own. You also get a copy of all of the presentations in there, a practice schedule, a youth playbook, and a regular new playbook too. So all of that stuff in there. It's one of the best reviewed courses on CoachTube. You can see right there. All these guys have reviewed it and talk about it. And one of the things that people talk about in the course is that it's very simple. We also have an advanced level course that has about another 6 hours worth of like clinics and things like that with me and some of the other guys. I mean, we really do. We go through mesh, we go through RPOs, we go through shallow cross, and that's our advanced concept course. So we have about 20 courses right now on Coach 2 that we've put in and out. But the two big ones, and we also have a defensive series too, which is pretty cool because we run a 3-4 defense. One of the things I will suggest to you is if you're going to be an air raid team, you need to have some kind of attack and defense that goes with it. It doesn't do you any good to be really conservative on defense and be aggressive on offense, okay? Because your defensive coaches are going to have to play defense, and you want them to be able to make big plays for you. So we have our 3-4 dog soldier defense video series over there as well. So, like I said, guys, man, the air raid is cool. I love it. It changed my life. My first 2 head coaching jobs, I didn't run it, and I was very average. My 3rd head coaching job, I learned the air raid, and I was county coach of the year twice, went to the 3rd round of the playoffs twice, got a college job off of it, and now I'm doing YouTube and coaching courses and everything else. So it's really changed me, and I will tell you there's plenty of guys out there that are better than me. Pat Taylor, who does open grass reads. If you really want to learn how to teach the 4 vertical concept, I would check him out. Drew Piscopo, who does a lot of stuff with us on the Mesh group and a lot of stuff over on Ron Mackey's channel, Coach Mackey's YouTube channel. Coach Joe Salas, the guy who taught me the offense. Napier, Dular, all those guys who come on our channel are really good. And then if you get really good at it and you want to get good at it, you can go over and look at the air raid certification course that Coach Mummy does. But my suggestion would be get a foundation first, because that's a little bit of a financial investment, but it's well worth it once you get into it, because there's a lot of stuff that goes into that stuff. But, spend the $50 and get this one and sit down and really learn it.
Well, just a couple of quick questions.
Sure.
Based on that, you were talking about all the tags that you could potentially run. You had the white corner, but then you can tag him on the glance post and things like that. How do you go about putting those tags in? I know it's something you talk about a lot in your channel. What's the process for putting those tags in and not going overboard with them all?
That's the challenge. I did a course a couple of weeks ago with some guys, and it's up on Coach 2 now. It's called Leveling Up Your Air Raid Offense. And it's what do you do in the air raid in year 2? Mm-hmm. And one of the key concepts I talk about is that the more you get into the air raid, the smaller your playbook gets. You have to fight the urge to use another math term. It's addition by subtraction. You're getting better by taking things out. Like for instance, I don't run Y sail. I just don't. Yep. It's in the base package. I probably should run it more, but you know how we were talking earlier about knowing who you are. It's just not something I call. Mm-hmm. We use it in rollout a little bit. So if I'm going to roll my quarterback, I'll run it. So I take that out. I don't practice it because I don't call it. There's no need to doing that. There's some guys who, like my first year at Red Springs, we didn't run mesh. Mm-hmm. We won 10 games as an air raid team and we didn't run mesh. And people are like, what? You didn't run mesh? You're the 92 mesh group. I know, but we just weren't good at it. Mm-hmm. And so you have to know from year to year it changes. And so the hard part is if you're going to a gunfight, how many guns do you need? Yeah. I guess is the bottom line. I mean, if you got a bazooka, why you got a pistol? That kind of thing. And so, obviously we're going to have like post off of stick. We're going to have post wheel off of mesh. Mm-hmm. We'll have the shallow play action off of Y cross. Those are things that always stay in. Wheel, post, those things are always in. It's where you try to get too cute that I think sometimes you can overcoach football. Sometimes we as coaches want to be smart, and it's not what it's what your kids can do. So That's the challenge, though, Josh. And it's amazing that you figured that out real quick. You know, just within one conversation, you asked probably the most important air raid conversation it is. Like, yo, coach, how do you keep from doing that? Because that's one of the things that Coach Leach told me. You know, they were talking about some concept, and he looked at me. He's like, what do you think? I'm like, well, coach, I'm thinking, what do I got to take out to put that in? And he's like, yo, you get it. And that's just really how it is keeping it limited.
Brilliant. And so then with all those various passing game plays and then the tags and everything you have off it, how minimal is your running game?
Well, you know, in the air raid, we have 2 runs. You know, we run on the field and we run off. That's the Matt Mummy joke. Napier tells that joke all the time because Napier worked with Matt down at LaGrange. But no, I carry 3. I'm going to carry inside zone. I'm going to carry some version of gap. And then I'm going to carry like jet sweep or power read, depending on what kind of quarterback I have. You know, we kind of have a 3-day install, so we have a three run thing. I think if you try to have more than 3 runs, you get yourself in trouble. You know, for us, it's inside zone, dart, outside zone, which is basically jet sweep right now. That's what we're running. You know, Salas is a counter guy, you know, counter zone. You know, it just depends. I know a guy that won a state championship in California. He's an air raid guy. He ran outside zone and counter trade.
Okay.
That's all he ran. So, I mean, I know guys that have 3 or 4 runs. I know guys that have 1 run. It's all about what you can practice and what you're good at, you know, I know anytime I start talking about 20 personnel or 2-back air raid, guys get all excited because, you know, they still just don't want to let go of that H-back sniffer guy, which is fine. And you know, but you got to realize everything you try to do in the running game taken away from something you do in the passing game. And, you know, and to be a true air raid team, in my mind, you have to limit your playbook and really practice, work, you know, concentrate on reps. You know, other than that, you're just kind of a spread team, which that's fine too. It's just not true air raid in my mind.
No, that makes a lot of sense. So we've got one last question.
Okay.
The name of the vodcast is 4th and Goal. So
it's called what?
4th and Goal.
4th and Goal. Okay.
So you can see where this is sort of heading. We've got a scenario. It's 4th and Goal.
Right, 4th and Goal from the where?
That's it. It's from the 6.
Okay.
State championship game. You're down by 4, so you need to score the touchdown. What is your go-to play?
Well, you know, that's such a loaded question, Josh.
All right, left hash.
Who is my dudes? Who are my dudes? You know, we're gonna go open, H move, 92 wheel.
Okay. Right. Now
H move 92. So we're gonna go motion with our weak side slot guy. We're gonna run mesh, and then we're gonna run the Z on a post, and hopefully the H is wheeled to the back of the end zone in a corner for a touchdown. And then the other back is the running back on the other side is running a wheel back there. There it is, right there.
Brilliant. Nice. That is good.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's open H move 92 wheel.
Right. Now second question, because I just noticed that your F's in the pistol or behind the quarterback. Do you sidecar him or do you sit him back?
Well, we can do both. We can do both. In this situation, I kind of, because what you get a lot of times is people like to put the 3 technique away from your back. It's so if you put them in the pistol, it kind of gives them a little bit more of a free release into the backside wheel, because this guy right here can be open as well. So normally we're over here somewhere if we're running regular stuff, but in this situation, we'll probably put him right here.
Nice, it's a good one. Yeah, that's it. It's nice.
And from the 6-yard line, it's pretty tight, but you know, well, like everything else, you got to be able to protect it. So, and mesh takes a little bit of a long time. That's why you want to go with the wheel. I'd also probably, you know, maybe run wide corner, which is, you know, kind of my baby too. But
it's a bit of fun. So thank you again for
absolutely, man. It's been a blast. I appreciate it. And like I said, man, I love the fact that our game is international, and anything I can do to help you guys or any of the guys down under, you know, feel free to hit me up on Twitter or shoot me an email. And like I said, like I always tell my guys, hey, spin it to win.
That's it. Thank you again, Coach. And you heard him. If you have anything you want to talk to Coach about or ask questions, feel free to hit him up on Twitter. Check out his CoachTube stuff, his YouTube channel, and the 92 Mesh Group website.